This is a Let's Talk Church Safety and Security microsode with your host, Paul Buckner. So one of the interesting things about the changing face and the rising professional nature, and I don't mean heartless, cold and calculating corporate, I don't mean corporate-minded church safety. I mean the maturing of and the professional growth of church safety is we're going to see the rise of a lot of things. Motorola came out with body cameras. That's something that my buddy James McGarvey was telling me about when they first came out. That's a thing. And so when we're looking at things that are coming down the pipe, one thing that we're going to be seeing, I think, more of is going to be the rise of drones within church safety. And I know that might sound silly, you might scoff, but imagine you have a large campus. And I can see a couple of aspects of this. You have a smaller team and a fairly large area to cover, or you have an unknown that is happening and you need the ability to look at it without getting hurt. And so maybe your team, you have an older team, but you've got somebody on your audiovisual team that can take a look at it. I actually know churches that fly drones on the regular, and they do it for part of their audiovisual. So they do an overflight of events with their church and they have a drone on tap. Typically, you need to understand that you're going to have licensing and different things like that. You need to know what your state and city laws are, your county level laws are. Some areas are pretty strict about it. Canada can be very strict. Certain cities are just about no-fly zones. But imagine you see some activity at the edge of your property, you're able to get some altitude, and then you realize that there's somebody that is trying to break into the back of a building on the edge of your campus, and it would have been not only hard to get to, but it could have been dangerous to get to. That's a thing. You have a missing child. So what I'm not saying is go out and grab a $2,000 drone, but I'm saying this is part of the changing face of church safety. And you don't have to have a $6,000 drone. I mean, 4K drones are coming down in price like crazy. I mean, HD drones are coming down in price like crazy, to where the quality of the image that you're getting, of the footage that you're getting, is great. And maybe you have a situation going on campus that you really shouldn't be approaching, but you can get a drone in the air and you can look at it, and maybe you can get pictures of something. These are all things that are becoming part of the changing face of church security. And you can do outer perimeter sweeps and look at something without exhausting the footwork of your team or having to jump on a golf cart or something like that. And so it's just something to think about. That, I mean, literally body cameras are coming down into, you're going to be seeing them used more and more at a municipal level and a corporate level because of the litigious nature of our society. And a lot of people who have been targeting police departments and city workers to try to create lawsuits. They've been targeting bigger businesses, corporations. They're going to be looking at churches, and if they see a big, nice building, and you may have had somebody that donated $5-6 million to your church. If you did, praise God. But you may have had somebody that helped you build this big, beautiful church, and your church is actually baroque, but somebody donated the money to actually build the church or something like that, to where you don't just have gadzooks of money laying around. That's absolutely a thing. And so if you find yourself in an environment like that, where maybe you don't have this huge budget, or like most of us, everybody that I can think of, you really don't want to spend your budget that's supposed to be out there helping you take care of the lost and what have you, minister to God's people. If you don't want to be spending that money paying out on a lawsuit, that's obviously part of why you need de-escalation and training like that. But body cameras are coming down to ground level. It's something that you're going to see more and more of. And again, it might sound silly, but you give it 5 or 10 years and you're going to be seeing them everywhere. And I think you're going to see a lot more drone activity. I think you're going to see a lot more camera activity. I think we're actually going to see the rise of drones that mount to the outside of a building, inside of some kind of an enclosure or underneath a canopy or something. And they're already in place and you just launch them. I mean, it's a lot of that technology is coming down farther and farther. And imagine somebody bats the thing out of the air, or the thing crashes because you're like, oh my gosh, that's a whatever in progress. We've got to get 911 here. I would so much rather crash even a $1,000, $2,000, $4,000, $6,000 drone than have Bill off the safety team maimed for life or killed. And so it may sound outlandish, but you're going to see a lot more of that type of gear and equipment. And wireless solar powered cameras are coming way down in price. I mean, just a few years ago, those things were unobtainium. You just could not get them. They either didn't exist or after that, they were just prohibitively expensive. All that technology, as technology is wont to do, has come down in price. And you're going to see more and more opportunities where you always want to have a physical presence in the parking lot if you can help it, because there's very few environments where having actual eyes and actual ears in that environment is not healthy and not good. But imagine if you've got cameras out at the edge of your area and it's built up and it's sitting on the side of a tree or it's up on a pole, and you're able to see that environment, because seconds save lives. You have a central dispatch for your own church, and you look and you realize there's literally a road rage incident. It's spilled over into the edge of the parking lot. You don't have to get your people up to it because it doesn't involve you, but you're able to immediately see it and get 911 involved. And I think you're going to start seeing decibel rating alarms that are going to go off on cameras, where raised voices and tones are going to be picked up and heard. You're going to be seeing these things where all of a sudden your monitor starts flashing, ding, 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 and you reach up and touch the touch screen on your monitor, and you hear somebody going, "Listen to me," and you realize you've got a situation. A lot of that is going to help us do a better job. It's coming down the pipe. It's things that'll be out there eventually. A lot of us are like, I would just like to have cameras and radios. I get it. But just some things to think about what we might be seeing in the very near future with the future of church safety. God bless. If you enjoyed this microsode, check out the video and audio versions of the Let's Talk Church Safety and Security podcast.